Gonna dip in your hip, I glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Hey guys, welcome back to Mystic Mayhem, another Tuesday. Lisa and Lisa, other Lisa missing in action. She is unfortunately sick, so it'll be just myself tonight with you. And tonight we have Darknite Paranormal Society out of Arkansas. We'll get with them here in just a moment. I do want to make a quick announcement since Lisa is not here to do this. Her nephew, Sam Matthews, that we've been talking about all last season and saying he's going to be signed. Well, apparently he was. He signed with the Chicago Bears. So we definitely got to make that a quick announcement. I don't know if she's following, watching, listening, but definitely got to do that plug for her there. And then without further, I do want to bring on Darknite. We have Sharika, Dwayne, and Lauren from the group. This is a group that formed in 2017. They all have previous experience. They just came together, to study the paranormal, the unknown, like anybody else, all with different backgrounds, different beliefs, but the same goal in mind. So let's bring them on. Lauren, Sharika, and Dwayne, thanks for joining us. Let's get you
Thank you for having us.
Oh, look at Lauren. Do you have your camera on, or is that a picture?
It's just a picture. That's all you'll get. Sorry.
Yes, I'm not.
Hey, at least I'm not like
you guys did.
At least it's not a weird icon,
I'm gonna find a way to make you guys big and me small. No, I guess I didn't do that.
I'm okay with staying small.
Oh man.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
That works too. So tell everybody kind of a little bit about how you guys met up, how you formed your group, where you're located, how it kind of all came about.
Yeah, so back in 2016, I actually met Lauren. She actually worked with my sister at McDonald's at the time. She was a manager, and I was with another group because I've been doing this since 2013. I've been investigating, and I was with another group, and then she started going with us on the old group. Well, on the original group. Well, then, the lead investigator was going through some family stuff at the time with his wife and whatnot, so I decided to branch off and we decided to branch off and start Darknite. At the time, it was actually me, Lauren, and Justin, and two other people that are no longer a part of Darknite. But so then Justin kind of went his own way when he got a new woman or he had life issues happen. And Sharika,
2017, I came in.
Yeah.
2017, 2018.
Yeah.
I came in, and then Justin parted after I joined.
Yeah. Sharika actually worked with her at Sykes. It's a call center. That's how we met. Told her we got a ghost group going on. And she just come and checked out a local restaurant here with us. And then she just never left. And so.
They were stuck with me after that.
We got her hooked, That's what we do.
Except, who was it that doesn't stay the night at
Serica.
That's me.
Serica.
That was you that they
I
can't
feel
get
her
you
on
to
that. I
say
feel her on a certain level with that as well.
Yeah, me and Lauren's pretty even on that one. I mean, I don't know. I'll stay the whole night investigating, but to sleep at a location, there's only been one place that they've talked me into actually staying the night.
I'm just gonna throw a quick story in. Trying to think. I think the first location I ever actually stayed the night at was actually Lauren didn't even actually get to make that one because she was sick. She was real bad sick at that time. But we went up to this old slave plantation in Palmyra, Missouri,
I love that.
someplace in Time In. And it was me, Justin, and the two other people that are no longer with us. We went up there and we stayed the night in the plantation, which is pretty wicked to say the least, because I'm not ashamed. Me and Justin slept in the same room
I thought you can say the same bed there.
Same bed.
because
There are
like
no shame in
spooning.
that.
we were spooning, but
Who was the big spoon? Who's the little
we,
spoon?
Look, I will say that the one and only location I ever stayed the night at, I made everybody. We all slept in the same room. I was like, no,
we
I'm not doing the solo. I'm not. No, so
Dude,
we all
I'll share a
slept
bed
in
with
the
somebody
living
for sleeping at a location like that. I don't care.
like the other two people. They slept in the damn nursery
room.
or dang nursery. Sorry,
Mhm.
they slept in the nursery, and we could hear like a little car rolling across the floor in there, and they was sleeping. Me and Justin barely slept that night.
So that's me. I will stay overnight, but I'm not sleeping. Mm-mm.
That's funny. That's hilarious. I don't know if y'all have heard of Moon Girl out of Texas. She's an investigator. She has stayed at some of those really, really haunted, like spooky places overnight by herself. I mean, I'm talking Dale's room.
Mad props to her.
She
That's a
stayed there.
brave
There's no
woman.
place she says no to. And I'm like, oh,
Mm-mm.
she's pretty
Don't get me wrong. I've gotten braver over the years, and I like wander off by myself sometimes and investigate by myself. But staying the night in a location strictly by myself, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you gotta
Now, one of our good friends, Mr. Johnny Hauser, this dude, I give him mad props because he stayed in Villisca by himself.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm all like, no, probably not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gotta be a hard pass for me. Now, y'all have been to quite a number of places. I've looked at. You guys can be found on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I think YouTube too, right?
Yeah, and
A
Twitter.
little slower on there right now, but
Yeah.
pretty much everywhere across the board. And obviously, Waverly was one of them, and Bobby Mackey's. Two of the most popular places, probably, and then dozens of others, which I do want to hit on. But I have a question for you on Waverly. What was your experience there? And like, well, first, before we hit on Waverly, I do have a question. You mentioned your dynamics and different backgrounds, different beliefs. What is the biggest disagreement y'all have as a group? Is there any where y'all are like, no, I don't believe that? You know what I mean with beliefs?
I don't think that there's, for me, like any major disagreement. It's just we all respect each other's view. Like, the Ouija board, I've done it one time. I'm not like, I don't want to say I'm not a fan of it because it's a communication tool. I just personally am not a big fan of using it. But Dwayne and Lauren use it, and I'm like, I mean, I'm okay with it. That's, we respect each other's beliefs, and
Boundaries.
so there's never really any disagreement or arguments over it.
I feel if you use it the right way and the correct way, it's a good, it's a good evidence, but we do it respectfully and we do it, the right way. So
Yeah, a lot of people say it's no different than using an SB7. It's another
Exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
We don't go in there.
I
and
feel
summon
that it's
demons
the
and fall
same.
for 'em.
Yeah, I feel that it's the same thing as if we took the spirit box and talked to him that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Any kind of
I
equipment
feel
is
that
good.
way with it. I just personally don't like
It's just the Ouija board I feel is more channeled through us versus through
Yeah.
the like sweeping radio wave frequency.
Do you
Yeah.
remember the event they had? God, it was one of the northern states. I want to say it was like Chicago, where they had a like a con, but it was like a Ouija board con.
Yeah, I
And they
remember
had,
seeing
like,
about that.
I don't know how many Ouija boards at that event. I mean, I would say 100.
And now I
Like,
did.
can you imagine the energy at that event? But I don't know if
Man,
y'all went to it. I
Yeah.
didn't go.
that'd be a pretty
Now
cool to go to, honestly.
we did break one of the Ouija board rules.
It's the Dark Knight way, man.
I used the Ouija board in my house.
And we did it at a graveyard.
We did. But I mean, I'm very cautious about it. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, you would understand, and other people in this field would understand. With my energy, I control what comes to the board and what doesn't, basically. I can shut off to block out whatever, like protection wise, block out whatever I don't want to come through the board. And I believe it's a lot about what energy you're putting into the board is what energy is going to come back to you.
Yeah, I've loved the Ouija board. I feel like we have such good connection with it, but the hype that it gets of negative hype, if it's done properly, it's a great tool. But
Well-
you have to be safe about it. You have to do it properly.
One thing too, I would say like the one thing that we kind of have had disagreements on would be evidence.
Like what you consider
Yeah.
good.
Yes,
Well,
yes, because I'm not skeptical of the paranormal, but I'm with any piece of equipment, the Ouija board, the spirit box, any of them. I think that it's proven that they all have their flaws.
Yeah.
So we used to, Dwayne, like this one video that we had at a cemetery, Dwayne swore up and down that
almost broke our
he
group
caught
up.
an entity on video. And I was like, no, that's not an entity. That's something, that was at the cemetery, like a physical thing. And
Yeah,
I mean,
Dwayne
Lauren
Whitaker
can tell
broke.
you, me and Lauren went back and forth with Dwayne for probably 3 months over this. And he wanted to put it out as evidence. Like he wanted to put it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to stand for that because I'm very, I want to make sure what I'm putting out cannot be explained in any other way.
Did you guys go back and try to?
We did, and we debunked it as being a.
Yeah, I was wrong.
It was a tree stump that
And
had
it
another
happens.
tree behind it, and when he panned the camera around with the night vision and the lights and stuff that we had, it did look like there was something there, but it ended up being a tree stump. But now that's why, like, with the Ouija board, any of the equipment that we use, we've tried to find ways to where we can take some
Validate.
to where we can validate it better.
Y'all do several validating factors, like not just like audio and video, or
Yep.
S7 and camera, like at
Yeah,
least
we do that. And then even with we'll run the SB11 normally, but now most of the time, if we're using the SB11, we'll do like the Estes experiment with it, or the Estes method. Or like when we use the Ouija board, whoever's doing it is blindfolded, so they can't see the board.
deprivation.
Yes. So we try to take out to where, like if they can't see the board and it spells out a word, then it's a little more validating than them looking at it and being able to move it, the planchette, to where they want, to make it say what they want.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, we don't disagree. We're all for, trying to validate our evidence or our responses. We're all on the same page there. It's just sometimes Dwayne gets excited and he's like, oh, this is evidence. And we're like, slow down, let's check it out. Or, sometimes I do it. I'm like, oh, we caught this. And they'll be like, no, it was that. So
when you investigate, you're all hyped up as it is. You're excited. Lots of things are happening. And it can happen where you get like, oh, that was something. But then we calm down. We're like, hey, was that creak a door? Is there wind? it gets hyped up. It does. It gets exciting. I get excited when things happen, but we have to validate, especially if somebody's like, the wind's blowing. We're like, oh, the door, and we've had things happen like that. And we're like, okay, that's debunked. That wasn't a ghost, So when we
By
do
the way,
evidence, yeah.
By the way, happy birthday, Lisa.
Yes,
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And also,
21.
what's up, Howie? Howie Odell's in the chat. We actually had him.
Okay, out.
We actually had him on our podcast as well in the past.
Yeah, Howie's great to talk to. Has he ever talked to you about his little snap, crackle, pop? He says there is a snap, crackle, and pop right before EVPs.
Yeah.
Right,
Hey, there literally is, and something I always notice, and it's crazy when I'm listening to EVPs, and I've learned and I've noticed.
There's no S on it.
Oh, after, it's like before and after, usually for us anyway, there's like a knock or something like confirming that it was actually spirit talking. And it's crazy, and I've had that happen a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. There probably is something to it. I've said I want to go back and listen to audio because I haven't really. It's something I never paid attention to with that. So I do want to ask you now on Waverly. So when I was writing my book, I got another one in the works. It was about doppelgangers, and that was a place that was a hot place for doppelgangers, reports of doppelgangers. Did y'all experience anything like that there?
Yes. So the first time we went to Waverly, we did. The first time we went, it was very intense, just crazy things happening. And at one point, and Dwayne had said, all the males were affected. They were all acting out of their own character. And it really scared, me and Lauren were really freaked out the whole time because the men were just not themselves at all. And at one point, Dwayne had said, I feel like they want me to throw Tim over the balcony.
Oh, shit.
And right after he says that, which at the time we didn't know, but after that, there's actually EVP was it right before or right after you said that? It was right after. Right after Dwayne said that, we caught an EVP that said, might throw Tim off the balcony. And so me and Dwayne had went out on the little deck, the smoking area. And Lauren was at base, and Justin and Tim had went down the hallway down by Lois's room. And Justin comes running down the hallway. And he's like, are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? And we're like, yeah, what's going on? And he's like, I just heard Dwayne scream. And we're like, no, he's been out here. He didn't scream. He goes, no, Dwayne was screaming. I just heard him. I thought something, he was pushing Tim over the balcony or, something like that. But there was a few instances where we'd hear, Justin heard Dwayne screaming, or, we thought Tim had said something and Tim wasn't even in the room. So definitely. Now the second time, very much with the audio. The second time, I don't think we experienced anything like that, but definitely the first time.
No, the first time we went to Waverly, like she said, all the males got affected, and it wasn't a good affected. I can tell you that. Tim kept wanting to go to the death tunnel. He literally sat down on the floor with the camera, fixated it towards the death tunnel, and said, look at it. They're playing peekaboo with me. And he was just acting real weird.
He wanted to push Lauren off the balcony.
And he was talking about pushing Lauren over the balcony. He got in my face, and he was with the camera, and he's all like, look how easy it would be. It'd be so easy to just push her off the balcony right now. She's standing out there. And we're like, good.
Weird. It was out of character for at least hours.
Yeah, Tim never he doesn't over exaggerate.
He's
He
our
doesn't.
scaredy cat. Like he's scared of everything, and he was just.
He's
And like,
ballsy.
when we were going up to the 5th floor, the Ovula said malevolent, and he's all, "You hear that? I'm malevolent. I scared the kids." And like, it was weird.
And he don't remember any of it. Going
Yeah.
back afterwards, he's like, I don't remember saying that. I don't remember doing that. Like he don't remember any of it.
And like, we were all on the 4th floor. It started like all this started after that, after the death tunnel and stuff. Robert was up on the 4th floor by himself investigating, which is a bad idea.
And we heard him scream.
We heard him scream.
Which he said he didn't scream.
And then he's all calling for us because he was trapped up there with the bats. There's bats at Waverly, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned his character being a little more timid, so maybe that puts him more at risk, for being.
Yeah. Well, Robert's not. Robert's not timid.
Oh no, Justin.
Well,
Tim.
yeah, Tim's timid.
He
Tim
went
is
in.
really
He went in.
timid.
I think he just went in scared, and he was open. And they're like, "Hey, that's easy. Let's go after him." So.
Yeah, but on the 4th floor, though, like Robert got choked by an entity, physically choked. His face turned purple.
And there was nothing around his neck.
Sherika said my eyes were black at one point on the 4th floor.
Look, if I wasn't so scared, they would have got left on the 4th floor because at one point, Lauren was at base and me and Dwayne had went up there and Justin. And Tim, Dwayne, and Justin all started they were just acting out of character. Like Tim wasn't up there. It was Robert, you and Justin. And Justin was just like walking off on his own, just staring out into nowhere. Robert was choking and Dwayne's eyes turned black and he was just like sitting there laughing at Robert. And I was like, if I wasn't so scared, I would have went back down to base with Lauren, but I wasn't going through that building by myself. So I was stuck up there with them and none of them. I was terrified. I was like, I'm never, ever, ever going back to Waverly again, which of course we did, but they had to talk me into it because I was not going to make a return trip to Waverly.
How is that location set up as far as investigating with staying there and the time that you're there and the just base and electric and that kind of stuff?
They do have a base that does have electric. I think it was 8 hours that we got to investigate the main hospital. They have a bunkhouse that you can rent and stay the night in, but you still have to be out of the main hospital at that 8 hours, and then you just move over to the bunkhouse. And I was like, I don't sleep at locations, so to me, I was like, nope, I'm going back to the hotel. Y'all can stay there if you want, but I think everybody ended up going back to the hotel because it just, for us, it wasn't worth the extra pay.
And that's what I was.
Bunkhouse
that's
versus, I mean, if we could have had the hospital longer with it, I probably would have stayed and then went to the hotel after I was done investigating. But, I mean, if you're into sleeping at locations, then, I mean, I'm sure, spending the night at the bunkhouse would be worth it, but I don't stay at locations. So to me, I was like, no, I'm not going to pay the extra money to investigate another building for an extra few hours for what they wanted.
Yeah, and you didn't even get the hospital longer. You just, like she said, you just got the bunkhouse. So I didn't see personally myself. I didn't see paying $500 because we were staying at the Embassy Suites, and we paid with happy hour, and we paid like $500 for a whole week to stay there. So I'm like, I'm not
to your happy hour.
Yeah.
And there it was like he said, it was like $500 for the bunkhouse. You didn't get the hospital any longer. You just got the bunkhouse. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay $500 for an extra few hours because me personally, I'm not going to sleep there anyways. So we didn't do that either time. But if you're into staying at locations, then I'm sure it probably could be worth the money. But
well, y'all have also been to Old Arkansas Hospital.
Yes.
I
I
went
love
there
that place.
with Sweet Sheila when she was still with us.
God rest her soul.
Yeah.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. So, can y'all tell people the history behind that location if they were interested in that one in Arkansas? And
So for the history part of it, I'm horrible with dates. I cannot ever remember the dates. Am I allowed to go into the history of it?
No.
Okay.
I
We
know
have to
that's
sign.
I
We
know
have to
that's
sign waivers there, so I have to be careful what we actually say. But
and this is
it was.
legal reasons. People like the owners are very specific about what you say about this location.
Yeah.
Well, this one, I mean, it's still operational. For a government
That's mostly why they wanted.
assisted living, I guess you could call it. So we have to be careful what we say because of HIPAA reasons. We can't get them in
Yeah.
trouble where nobody gets to go there. But back in the day, it was a TB hospital, like Waverly. We call it Mini Waverly as well. And it was a lot like Waverly. A lot of people don't realize, like with the TB sanatoriums, they were all self-sustaining. The nurses and doctors didn't get to leave to go home. If you worked there, you had to stay there. They did have separate housing and stuff for them to sleep in, but um, so it's basically just like a mini Waverly. After that, it became a nursing home. So then that added even more tragic stuff that happened at that location. And then now, like I said, it's still operational for developmentally and mentally disabled patients. So there's still more tragic events that happen that just kind of add to the activity that's there.
Or do they allow you to say what happened, like the history on the property?
You can, yeah. It was TB. There was a lot of deaths there in the nursing home. There was a lot of deaths, and even currently, they'll tell you a story where one of their residents, like I said, the people that live out there are mentally and physically handicapped. So they have a resident out there that would sneak off. He loves sodas, and he tried to go through the window into one of the buildings to get a soda, or they're assuming it was a soda because he always liked to go in that building and try to get sodas out of the vending machine.
Yeah.
And he ended up breaking the window, and he, I guess, got hung up when he was trying to go through the window, and he hung himself. And this was recent. This has been like within the last maybe 8 years.
I've never heard that story. Wow.
And the residents that still live there will talk about the resident that passed away and say that he comes to visit them and he talks with them. We've had some of the residents, not when I was there, but when Dwayne had went there with the previous group a time or two. They actually had some of the residents that were interesting investigating with this, and they asked us, do you mind if they tag along for a little bit? And we're an open group. We're like, sure. So we've actually investigated with some of the residents that are there now, and they confirm the stories and the names of some of the residents that they've known. We've traced it back. They used to have their nurses' logs. You could find some of them there. And we've correlated some of the names that we've gotten in EVP to the names that was in the book from when it was a nursing home. So there's just so much history and so many stories. I could talk for days about it.
And I remember when I was there, they had, just rooms of old furniture and books and logs, like you said, records upon records. And I don't know if you guys ever came across this, but what hit Sheila and I the most was this little boy that did these drawings of people.
Yep.
I can't remember his name, but he was
Tim.
Okay. He was kept there, and like he would draw people like from looking out the window, like their t-shirt, what was in their t-shirt, like just detailed pictures. And I can't remember his age or anything. Do you remember the history behind him, or age or anything?
I haven't gotten a whole lot of history on him other than what we've been able to collect through our evidence. But there's multiple. Hey, Linda. There's multiple books of the drawings, like you said, like that, and of cars and of different things.
And God, there was something else he would document too in his little journals. Was it when local crime on the news or something? Or
I haven't seen that one. Lauren may have. There's so much stuff down there that we went through that I don't remember.
yeah, it was like something he was watching on TV on a regular basis, like news crime or something. There was something he was logging and journaling to, in addition to his pictures. I just can't remember. It's been several years since I've been there, but that's a pretty massive place too.
It
I've
is.
not been to Waverly, so I can't compare. But you said it's smaller, much smaller.
Waverly is way bigger. And one thing I'm excited about out there is they are getting some new buildings built for their residents. And as they are moving them out of the original buildings into the new buildings, they're talking about giving us a couple of extra buildings, at least one for sure, that they're going to be able to open up to let us investigate as well, besides the main hospital.
That's awesome.
So I'm really looking forward to that. But this one, I can't remember how big it is, but it's 5 floors and a basement. But I'd say the hospital here is not maybe about the size of one wing of Waverly, maybe, if it's even that big.
Oh wow! Yeah, I didn't realize how massive that is.
Yeah, I can tell you one of the only locations I've ever ran at was that hospigod.
I mean, can you imagine rolling out the old cameras like we used to? Trying to run. Oh my God, it would take you 3 days just to roll out the stuff.
Yeah, that's the only location I've ever actually ran at that I can recall.
Our funniest
is that
running
old
story
Arkansas hospital. Once we were on we were in the basement. It was me and Justin down in the basement, and it was real dead. No pun intended that day. So we decided that we were going to stir the pot a little bit and get them going. So everybody's seen the movie The Exorcist. So we're in the basement, and I dare Jess, I say, we should start chanting the power of Christ compels you.
There's
and
Robert.
unison.
Robert's been there with us.
So
It's Roberto. Hello.
we start doing that. And about that time, right behind Justin, we hear a male yell at us to go with their own ears. And like, he looks at me, goes, "What do we do?" I said, "We go." So we take off running, because it's just fight or flight type, just kicked in out of nowhere. So we take off running, and you can hear the entity running through the water because the basement floods a little bit. You can hear the entity running through the water behind us as we're running out of the basement.
That's crazy.
What's up, Robert?
Yeah, I am not a fan of that.
Linda.
I hate.
Oh, there's Robert Frey. I met Robert at Dog Patch when I met you guys.
Yeah, at our Paracon, he was another speaker there.
I miss Dog Patch, man. I
So
love
what's
that
the
place.
history behind Dog Patch, because I was trying to look that up when I had went back then, and I know it used to be a theme park, but that's kind of all I knew about it.
Okay, so
Property. Somebody new bought it.
yeah, so
really?
the owner of the Bass Pro Shops bought it and started tearing some of the buildings down, which is sad.
It was a
before it was Dog Patch, it was an Indian town.
Indian settlement.
It was actually founded by Indian medicine man.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, prior to Dog Patch back in the day, it was Indian land. It was an Indian settlement founded by Indian medicine man. So there's many reasons and accounts as to why that place was haunted as it was.
I think we also heard that some of the buildings are the land they built over the graves.
Yeah, they bulldozed some of the graves to build Dog Patch.
Built right all over it. Didn't even move them or nothing. They just built right on top of it.
Yeah, so
messed up.
Yeah,
there's also hidden. Yeah, there's hidden caves out there at Dog Patch too. that we found out about. So there's a lot of history there. I've caught a lot of great evidence there.
We've got some great non-paranormal experiences there.
Oh yeah, we had some great non-paranormal experiences there.
That place in general is just beautiful.
Any
even though,
shapeshifter stuff going on over there with that native history, or not really?
There was a little bit of everything.
Yeah, at that place, it was a little bit of mixture. Like Sherry said, it was a mixture of everything at that place. It was kind of
But you can no longer investigate there.
yeah, and it was sadly no.
That's one of my favorites. One of my favorite places.
Actually, I think the Paracon was actually the last time we got to go. Was the last time we got to go there.
Yep.
So this is Dog Patch for those that are just tuning in. It was in Arkansas. What was the official name of it? Dog Patch.
It was Dog Patch USA. Yeah. It was based on the comic Little Abner.
Yeah.
I remember Sheila saying she went there as a kid. A lot of people went there as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Michael Todd, one of the other speakers that was there from Spook Earth, he actually went there as a little kid. I think Lauren did too. Yeah.
What's crazy, I was like randomly one day looking through photo albums, and I was taken there as a kid, and I didn't even know that. And it was crazy. I was like, oh, my mom's like, yeah, you don't remember? We never told you. I was like, no, I never knew I went there as a kid. And we got like old pictures from there of when it was, when it was open. So it was crazy. I didn't even know I'd been there before. So it was pretty neat.
So Robert in chat was just saying that he got a lot of stuff, a lot of activity there just in one night at Dog Patch.
Yep, at a Paracon. He was a speaker at a Paracon too.
Yeah, Dog Patch was just everywhere. The whole land was just insane.
Dog Patch was incredible. I loved the turnout that we had. Being our first Paracon, I did not expect it to turn out the way it did. I learned a lot of what not to do.
Mm-hmm. I hosted one many years ago, and you learned really fast.
Oh, that was the most stressful thing ever. I thought I was gonna I was gonna be bald when I came out of that.
Yeah.
Like next time we do a Paracon, I don't even know if I'm gonna book us a slot to speak. I think I'm just gonna give it to the guests and let them speak.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that we're 3 hours from our home, so that was kind of that was a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun though. I really enjoyed
it.
We
are talking about maybe next year. It's not for certain yet, but we are interested in putting on another Paracon. We're just going to do it way different.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys your intentions, like if you've had any plans of possibly something, and do you have a location in mind or locations?
We've got 4 or 5 that we're tossing around right now. And it goes back to our goal is try to do somewhere closer to home this time, because that was a big thing, being so far away from home, and you always forget something, or something comes up and you need this, and so we're looking at locations closer to home for sure.
One of the issues that we ran into, we was told there would be a hotel for the guests to stay.
We told that there would be tables and chairs
provided. We was
provided.
told that there would be tables and chairs provided for the Paracon.
We was told that he would have bathroom facilities there.
Yeah. And
in the hotel.
So we get there. He had sold the hotel.
And there was supposed to be a restaurant area or kitchen area in the hotel that we were going to get to use. It was going to have, the restrooms with running water that we were going to have access to in the hotel. And everybody could stay in the hotel. And then, like 2 days before the Paracon, or maybe a week before the Paracon, very, very short notice, he informed us that he sold the hotel and we wouldn't have access to it.
And there wasn't no tables. So we had to quickly book everybody hotels. and quickly find tables and chairs. So we just literally.
Which in that, we found a place, we reserved tables and chairs. And then the night before the Paracon, we go to pick up the tables and chairs, and they let us know that, what was it, like graduation or prom or something? And they no longer had our reservations.
So it was literally, that's why we ended up with round tables instead of the rectangle tables.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It was.
And they say
And
that
then
first year when you do these events, I mean, they say you're going to be out of pocket. You're not going to even recoup.
We were lucky enough, and we had some amazing speakers that cut us some really, really good deals. So we ended up breaking. I mean, we pretty much broke even. I think we were out of pocket some, but
not terrible.
I mean, it wasn't too bad, but that was only because of some of our amazing speakers and stuff that we had that, you know, didn't charge us a lot, or some of them done it for free.
Yeah, we got really lucky in the fact that we had a lot of speakers that didn't want a lot of money.
Well, and you had Coyote Chris Sutton, which is a gem, you know, when he was.
Oh, yeah.
And he's very gracious.
Yes.
Mine and very, very gracious.
Yeah,
Yes,
Chris.
Amazing.
Chris was a lot of help in general. God rest his soul as well, man.
He gave us a lot of advice.
Chris was amazing.
Yeah.
Chris, I can say, was a really good friend. Great guy all around. I miss him daily. I just want to reach out to him sometimes and be like, "Oh, I need advice on this," but
I know.
he's not here.
I used to talk to him a lot about spiritual stuff, especially like spirit animals and stuff. When was having these dreams and stuff, and he would help me with the dream interpretations and like, what does that mean? You know. So
he helped me a lot too.
Reach out.
He helped me a lot as well too, because I mean, I'm Native as well, but I wasn't raised with that culture. So he helped me a lot in learning a lot about the culture and things like that. We own a big piece of property that's right by the Indian Territory, and we had some spirits out there that were Native. And I just reached out and I'm like, you know, what do we do? Like, they're Native. I know they're dealt with completely different. And he gave us advice on what to do to make peace with them. Thank God we were able to make peace with them. And it made our lives so much easier after that.
Now, y'all do, besides public locations, y'all do private, like residential cases as well, and take that on for people that need help.
Oh, yeah.
And what locations, if somebody needs to reach out, what do you cover? What territory? What kind of area?
Oh, I mean, we'll go anywhere in Arkansas. We'll go to most of Oklahoma.
I mean, really anywhere, as long as like we can work our work schedule around it. And I mean, if it's real far away, we don't charge for anything, unless it's, you know, further away. And then we're like, hey, you may have, you know, cover gas or cover a hotel for us, or, you know, if it's extensive travel.
But for the most part, like anywhere in Arkansas or Oklahoma, Missouri,
Parts of Texas.
Parts of Texas, Louisiana. I mean, we'll go further, but like she said, when it depends how far, because
I'm only off on weekends.
Yeah, once it gets so far out, then we'll have to have like at least gas, like she said, or something to make it to at least to get us there and back.
Right.
And then you get into, you know, vacation days at work and
time off at work.
Something I noticed with your investigations is you do a lot of live feed with your public investigations, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Where do y'all do those mainly? Where do you do your live feeds? Facebook? Is that where people can find them?
Facebook and TikTok. We've been live feeding quite a bit with TikTok
and
as well.
That kind of goes back into me being skeptical of evidence. We live feed everything. That way you can see everything. You know, nothing's edited. It's not, it just kind of validates the evidence that we do find.
Do you worry about not contamination, but like interference with the phones, like with the live feed?
At first, I feel like it kind of was a thing, but we've learned, especially like with the millimeters and the different things like that, it does set them off. So if it's close to a phone, we do take that into consideration.
Just try to keep distance.
So,
I think the biggest thing for me was walkie-talkies. That's the one thing that just kind of...
Yep, walkie-talkies will interfere with the REM pod every time.
A lot of
I've literally tested, and a lot of the other ones as well. But
also,
I've literally tested
evidence with walkie-talkies.
Yeah, I've had them communicate. Have you ever had them communicate through your walkie-talkies yet?
Know that I have, but
we've had that happen at 2 locations.
So we quit using them.
Yeah, but
we'll use them for setup purposes, but when we start investigating, we don't use them.
Yeah, we only use them to like, hey, which way do I need to turn this camera? How does this camera look where it's set up? Stuff like that. But outside of that, like, we don't use them. Because it interferes with everything. Like, if you have a walkie-talkie and you push the button next to the REM pod, it's going to go off. If the REM pod's in the vicinity, it'll set it off.
Yep.
So Frey is saying, just make sure you ain't smoking. I don't know if he's just saying don't be smoking when you're investigating for, like, evidence. I don't know what he's getting at with that. And then he says squirrel cage jail.
Oh, that's a good place too.
A lot of times, like, if you're smoking, the smoke will go in front of the camera, and we've had people be like, "Oh, there's something there," and it's like, "Oh no, I'm just smoking a cigarette. My bad."
Or I'm vaping. They're like, "Oh, look at that." I'm like, "No, that's just my vape, y'all. It's just the smoke."
I would say I thought it goes without being said, don't smoke while you're investigating, but maybe people don't think about it.
Yeah.
What's this squirrel cage jail? Where's this at? What's the deal with that location?
It's in Iowa.
Yeah.
It was actually it's actually a rotating jail.
What?
It's very interesting. Yeah. Yes. So
what do you mean rotate? Like physically?
Yes.
Physically rotate.
So the building is stationary, but inside the building, there's rotating cells.
Instead of having doors like where it opens, there's one main door, and the cells will rotate. You have to. It rotates to open the cage or open the cell.
To get the inmates in and out, they'd have to rotate it until the door was open and let them walk out.
Until their cell was lined up with the door.
Well, and they have records of people getting injured.
You can imagine the nightmare that was when people are getting their limbs ripped off, sticking their arms out the rotating cage and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, and do you work jail?
Yep.
Yeah, so all that because I've worked prison, so
Yep, I work in the jail dealing with the inmates. Shericas does the civilian booking clerk.
I'm a civilian law enforcement.
Yeah,
and I did just nursing, over in medical, but
but nurses get paid well at the jail.
Because especially when you're trying to, on the prison side, I mean, when they're refusing housing and they won't give up their cuffs and they're slamming their body around and you're trying to deal with a rotating, trying to get in and out of the cell. I mean,
and you can't walk them down
before you get out the damn cell.
And you can't, you got to shove them in the cell and try to hold them in there while it's rotating closed.
Yeah.
It just don't make no sense.
Sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Robert says there's one in Missouri where a guy got his head crushed.
Jails are one of my favorite. We've done a handful of jails. I love jails. Jails and hospitals are some of my favorite places to investigate.
Some of the and just off the whim here, you're talking about us doing residential cases as well. Some of the residential cases that we've took on is more intense than the public locations. one of the videos on TikTok, it's on our TikTok page, actually was at somebody's house. It used to be a hair salon.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of activity going on there. Had an electrician come out because lights would turn on by themselves, turn off by themselves, and so in one of the videos, Lauren sets up, I had the camera set up. She turned around to make sure it was on because she had to go to the kitchen because that's where our stuff was to get some more equipment or change out batteries. And then she was walking down the hall to go back to the living room area where everybody else was. Well, she turned out the light. She got about halfway down the hallway, and the light comes back on by itself. Like it flipped it up with force. And the way that the lights came on compared to the way they went off, they come on 1, 2. When she turned them off, they went off together, but it was like delayed reaction between the first and the second one. And we have this on video. You can clearly see there's nothing else down there with her. Nobody's there. It literally turned the light back on after she turned it off.
And in the original video, you can actually hear the light switch clicking up, and it moves up.
Yeah, and you can hear Lauren cussing.
She wigged out because
Listen, I get very scared. I dress like a pirate. I cannot help it. And I said some not friendly TikTok words, so I had to cut them out.
Yeah. So did y'all get anything audio wise there? Like some good EVP? Figure out like who was there?
Oh goodness.
I'm trying to remember what we caught there.
We got an EVP from up there in that one bedroom, but I don't remember what it said.
Yeah, I'm trying to
refresh
remember.
On that one because I didn't know we were going to touch on it.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
There. I seen the one and only time I've seen a full body apparition, and I was walking around, and it was like right there by the hallway. I was coming out of the hallway where the light turned off, and I was turning to go into a side room. And at first I thought like one of my team members was standing there because it was like I went around the corner and it's like there was somebody standing there. And then he was just gone. And I kind of freaked out over that because, I mean, I kind of jumped because, you know, like when you go to walk around a corner and there's somebody there and, you know, you're like, oh, sorry, excuse me. Like it was like that, but then he was just gone. And that's the one and only place I've ever seen that had that happen for me.
Yeah, so that place had a lot of activity. And where was that? What state was that?
It was here in Arkansas. It was in a town called Conway.
Conway, Arkansas.
The one thing about that is, I mean, like Dwayne had said, she had electricians out there and different people because she kept having lights turn on and off. And
the house was like over 100 years old.
But so they couldn't figure it out.
No, the electricians cleared it, said everything with the electric looked good. There was no shorts. There was nothing, you know, and that's why we had actually had that camera sitting on the stove facing that hallway because she said it was usually in that hallway. I mean, it happened other places. It would set off the security system would go off there and there'd be nobody there. But she said the hallway was like the main place it happened. And that's why we had the camera set up on the stove facing down that hallway. And Lauren had a camera in her hand. So that was a pretty good catch there. We did catch some EVP, but I can't off the top of my head remember what
it's a good catch.
What it said.
I ain't gonna lie, that was scary.
Now you want to talk about audio? We have caught some incredible audio. I've caught audio, and this is actually before. This is when I was with the old team before we started Darknite. I caught some audio. I'll touch base on it, but I'll touch base real quick on old courthouse that we done several times. We're the only team to ever investigate it here in Arkansas, which sadly they turned it into like a museum now. So the judge said he can't let us in there because the stuff in there or whatever now. But
valuable.
Yeah, but he used to always
old Lavaca jail. Not a plug or anything.
I want to do that one.
They do have stuff there that you can see, like a museum, but also investigate.
Yeah, he used to always let me go in there. Like I had to talk to the judge to get permission to go in there.
That's crazy, and not for a bad reason. You weren't in trouble.
Yeah, yeah, it's literally an old courthouse. Well,
We actually called the cops.
we actually called the cops for this audio. Like we were upstairs. All of us were upstairs. It was me, Lauren, Sherika, and Travis. There's another guy that goes on some invest with us.
He's also law enforcement.
He's also law enforcement. He's actually a police officer in Gore, Oklahoma. But we were all upstairs and we were just asking questions, you know, the usual. And it was like an entity peeked its head around the corner at the bottom of the stairs and yelled up to us, "You found me."
We all heard it with our own.
We all heard it talk with our own ears.
And we caught it on multiple devices.
We caught it on multiple devices, cameras, recorders.
It was
and
loud,
like
too.
I wigged the hell out. I'm not gonna lie.
It sounded like an actual person, like somebody was down there. We thought somebody was in the building.
Like we ran. Hello, Ryan. We ran downstairs.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We ran out of time.
Oh, it just automatically does it?
Yeah, I guess so. It'll cut the recording, but yeah, no, let's keep going so people can hear.
Yeah.
Y'all we on out of there.
Yeah, we ran all the way. We walked the entire building looking around, called the cops, had them come and check it out, made sure there wasn't nobody in there that had broke in or anything like that, and we couldn't find nothing. Nothing at all.
The cops went up to the jail. They came out. They're like, "Are y'all really going to stay here all night?"
Did they listen to the audio?
Yes.
So they were probably impressed.
Yeah. And like, "Are y'all sure y'all want to stay here all night?" We're like, "Yeah."
And this is funny because there's another location in the same town that we've been trying to get into or whatever. It's an old hospital. But like the actual owner was like, "Yeah, whatever, you just contact my son. He's the caretaker." Well, his son wasn't so optimistic about us doing it. Of course, being in the Bible Belt, he was all like, "Y'all believe in God, right? Those aren't ghosts. Those are demons, blah, blah, blah." Well, we were talking to them about it, and they're all like, "Well, we're too scared to go in there. So if y'all just go in there," if y'all just go in there and they call us, we're not going to respond.
You're on your own. Yeah. A waiver for the police department too.
Yeah. The cop said if he calls us, we're not responding. So, if y'all go in there, we don't care. We didn't, as tempting as it may have been, and we had the police tell us they weren't going to help him out because they don't like the place. But we didn't go in there. But it's pretty. That courthouse was amazing that we got to do. Sucks that we can't do it no more because it was one of my favorite locations to do. But
well, before we actually are going to start wrapping because we got cut off a minute ago. But before we do, I do want to just hit on again where people can find you. And then I'm going to check dates and see if I can join you guys at the next Old Arkansas.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
All right. So people can find you on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. What am I missing?
Twitter. We're on Twitter. I'm not super active on Twitter, like I am the other ones. We're
Facebook and TikTok.
Facebook and TikTok is where we're most active at. We're in the verge of getting a new camera. So we're going to be releasing, once we do that, we're going to be releasing some documentaries on YouTube. We're going to put together some documentary videos from these locations.
And this is Darknite Paranormal Society.
Yeah, Darknite Paranormal Society on TikTok. Let's see.
Yeah, we're easy to find. It's the same name everywhere, mostly.
Yeah, all of our names are pretty much the same. I think on TikTok,
It's like
because it
Darknite
doesn't let
Paranormal.
you.
They wouldn't let me put the whole thing.
Yeah, it doesn't let you put the whole thing. Yeah, it's Darknite Paranormal. It doesn't have the L. It's just one word.
They can find you. They can figure it out. They can look for y'all's
Yeah.
beautiful faces. So thanks
Oh,
again
yeah.
for joining us tonight. We had Dwayne, Sharika, who is MIA. She must have snuck out, and Lauren, who refuses to show her beautiful face. You got
Y'all
your
can see
picture.
it one day.
But thanks for joining tonight. I appreciate you guys popping on and chatting for an hour about some different locations that people can investigate. Gives them
Thank you for having us. We appreciate
Oh,
it.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
I love the stories.
We had fun.
Yeah.
Yep. I have
Bring
to
you
do
on
it again.
and maybe a night that Lisa's not sick. Lisa, I hope
Yeah.
you feel better. My co-host over there playing hooky. No, she's probably not playing hooky. She's probably not sick.
We're praying
All
for
right,
you
I'll
as
see
well,
you guys.
Lisa.
I'll talk to you.
It will.
Happy
Bye,
birthday.
guys.
Have a good